to talk about the Nikocado Avocado and Stephanie Soo drama that shook the mukbang community to its core. This is kind of a long one, so you might want to just sit back and relax. It's December 21st, 2019, right in the thick of Vlogmas, when popular mukbang creator Stephanie Soo posts a 47-minute video titled Why I Am Scared of Nikocado Avocado. Now, Stephanie Soo is very beloved in the mukbang community. She talks about trending news stories, true crime, and obviously she eats on camera. She never really got involved with drama, so when this video went up, the Chronically Online folks were in shambles. I wasn't huge into mukbangs, but I did remember Nikocado Avocado from his drama earlier that year with Trisha Paytas, and you might vaguely remember that too. Long story short, he made plans to collab with her, and then she ghosted him after he booked his flight to LA. That's the super high-level gist. I don't want to get too sidetracked. But Nick had also recently experienced drama with another mukbang creator named Veronica Wang, and in order to fully understand the Stephanie Soo situation, we gotta revisit that. Back in 2018, a parody YouTube channel called Shookbong posted a video making fun of Veronica Wang and Stephanie Soo, and at first, both women seemed to take the video as the joke that it was. But shortly after, I guess the joke was over because Veronica Wang submitted 2 copyright strikes for content on that channel because of all of the hate that she was getting from those videos. A bunch of creators from Nikocado Avocado to PewDiePie spoke out against the copyright strikes. Because Shookbong was a parody channel, their video content was legal under fair use and should have been protected from copyright strikes. Eventually, Shookbong agreed to publicly apologize to Veronica Wang and another creator who had submitted copyright claims in exchange for them rescinding the claims and saving the channel from being banned. And Nikocado Avocado was not happy. Why was Shookbong publicly apologizing and bending to Veronica's drama when they did nothing wrong? Nick and Veronica went back and forth about this for a hot minute.
I will defend myself. More tea? Oh, honey, we're just getting started.
Meanwhile, Stephanie Soo was friendly with both of them, so she was kind of caught in the middle, but doing her best to stay out of the drama. Until her video on December 21st, where she claimed that Nikocado Avocado had threatened and manipulated her. According to Stephanie, Nick had asked her if she wanted to collab on a mukbang video together multiple times, and she refused because the Shookbong drama was too fresh and she didn't want to appear like she was taking a side. They eventually decided to meet up with another mukbanger, Zach Choi, and they had an amazing dinner together. Nick was super open and lax about all of the drama, and Stephanie got a little comfortable and started to shit-talk Veronica a little bit. Stephanie and Veronica just had 2 very different personalities, and Veronica had done a few things to kind of irk her a little bit. It was all super petty, small stuff. Anyway, after this outing, Nick and Stephanie got a little bit closer. Stephanie had experienced something really traumatic in her own home, so she was very intense about security, and Nick was the same way. So they would chat about alarm systems and security cameras and all that stuff while also getting a little bit more personal with each other. So by the time December 2019 rolls around, Stephanie feels comfortable collabing with him, and they decide to film a bunch of videos together over the course of a weekend. So Nick comes to her house, they film, all is fine, and the next day they meet up with Zach Choi to collab again. Before their second video, they start talking about what they want to discuss in the next one, and Stephanie starts to get a little freaked out.
Nick said it very assertively, we're gonna talk about Veronica and we're gonna spill all the tea.
Stephanie's really not trying to spill any tea, and Nick catches her off guard because he's asking her, well, if you didn't want to talk about Veronica, then why did you tell me yesterday that you did? So now she's racking her brain like, what the hell did I say yesterday?
He had mentioned, I think that we need to talk about Shookbong because everyone's gonna be talking about it in the comments. I felt like I was comfortable mentioning Shookbong, addressing it to the capacity of me and Nick. We have no ill will towards each other. It's all over, we're friends now,
So clearly there was a little bit of miscommunication. Nick's a little upset that Stephanie doesn't want to be messy, but they move on with the collab as planned. It starts getting weird again when Nick starts to come for Stephanie on camera.
What did you want to share? Or do you change your mind now?
And he's really not letting it go. He's hyping it up for the viewers, he's interrogating her, she's trying to laugh it off and kind of de-escalate a little bit, but it's not really working. She's just in this kind of awkward situation where she doesn't want to make Nick mad, but she also feels like she's being set up and exposed for the little bit of shit she did talk about Veronica in confidence. Stephanie is so uncomfortable after this that she doesn't even want to stick around to film the next video that they'd planned out. Like, she's on the verge of tears, but she can't worm her way out of it, ends up staying, and then spends the whole car ride home and the night thereafter questioning herself, upset, like, okay, did I say something that made him think that I wanted to be messy? Am I secretly a messy bitch deep down, like subconsciously? How did I get here? She's up until 7 a.m. in hysterics and ends up sleeping through the next collab that she'd planned with Zach and Nick. So she wakes up that afternoon and texts in their group chat that she's been in and out of sleep all day, she doesn't really feel well, and has a lot of sponsored content to film, so she's gonna have to flake on their collab. Obviously, this was a little white lie. In reality, she just didn't want to fuck with Nick anymore. She was was done collabing with him. It was just too weird at this point. On the other side of this, Nick is annoyed because he's been waiting for her for hours and now she's giving this stupid excuse. Eventually, she has no choice but to come clean and tell the real reason why she doesn't want to meet up. And Nick still isn't really getting it. He's thinking that she's just a fake ass bitch because he was under the impression that she wanted to be messy and talk about Veronica but just changed her mind. He ends up trying to FaceTime and call her 8 times to sort this out, and when he gets no answer, he takes to Instagram and threatens to expose her. Now Stephanie sees this mention of audio clips and is getting paranoid that Nick had secretly recorded her. I mentioned earlier that she's really intense about her security, right? So she goes back through her home security footage to see if anything's amiss. When she rolls back the tapes, so to speak, she finds footage of Nick secretly taking photos of her house when she was in the bathroom. So now she's extremely worried about what the hell he's gonna do. On top of that, Nick is clearly shit-talking Stephanie to other YouTubers because they're using her in and out of sleep text as an inside joke.
I've just been in and out of sleep, and I don't know what's going on.
Have you been in and out of sleep?
In and out of sleep. Oh my gosh. In and out of sleep right now.
And that brings us up to speed because Stephanie made her Why I'm Scared of Nick Avocado video immediately after all of this was posted. So all of this is fresh. Once this video comes out, the mukbang community and beyond immediately starts attacking Nick. He can't go live or post a video without being inundated with hate comments. Everyone is on Stephanie's side. It took a week for Nick to compile his receipts and reply with an hour-and-a-half long video, but he was determined to debunk all of the shit that Stephanie had said about him. The first thing he wanted to address was that he'd taken secret photos of her house when she was in the bathroom. According to Nick, this did not happen the way that Stephanie said it did. Stephanie gave Nick and his husband a full-fledged tour of her house, and he had taken pictures, but not while she was in the bathroom. She saw everything. She wanted Nick to see her house. She wasn't afraid of anything, and she let him take the photos. Now moving on to the Veronica Wang of it all. Nick was saying that Stephanie was not as innocent as she was trying to make herself look. Apparently, Stephanie wanted to make a Shane Dawson-inspired docu-series about the whole Shukbang controversy, and according to the text that Nick was sharing, Stephanie was going to make this more of a hit piece for Veronica and a redemption arc for Nick. When all the Shukbang controversy was going down, the popular narrative was that Nick was inserting himself into drama that had nothing to do with him, but in Stephanie's eyes, he was standing up for the underdog. Nick wasn't really interested in participating in the docu-series. In fact, he thought it made Stephanie look really messy, which didn't make logical sense to him because he'd always known Stephanie as someone who was unproblematic and tried to stay out of drama. Regardless, the fact that Stephanie was planning this docu-series in the first place made Nick feel like she wanted to talk about the drama and spill the tea. Zach Choi had even turned down participating in the docu-series, first of all because he doesn't even speak online, but also because it just looked like Stephanie was digging up old bones. As Nick's video goes on, he's sharing texts between him and Zach that show Zach's disdain for Stephanie, so now he's getting dragged into all of this as well. The main point that Nick Avocado is trying to make here is that Stephanie Soo is messy, she doesn't like Veronica Wang, and she wants to expose her. Regarding their uncomfortable collab, let's get some context started, and excuse my leg. I can't sit still for this long. Okay, stick with me here. That day, Nick and Stephanie were supposed to collab in the morning, they were gonna split up, and Nick was gonna meet up with Zach that evening to do a separate video. But instead of showing up to film, Stephanie decided to go to Blue Jam Cafe to meet up with Zach, which it's a great restaurant, great chai lattes. Honestly, I get it. But Nick's a little annoyed, understandably, right? They're supposed to be filming a mukbang together and she's going out to eat. But what really cinches the waist for him is Stephanie inviting herself to his collab with Zach. So now instead of having two-person videos, he has one group project. To make matters worse, during the video, there's supposed to be a bit at the end where Stephanie and Nick are looking back and forth at each other to see who's gonna eat the last chicken wing. Follow me. Nick is in the finished video looking shady as hell because he's looking at Stephanie, but Stephanie never looks back at him. So the bit doesn't even work.
She didn't even look at me. And I say to myself, why would she say to do this where we look at each other who's gonna go for the last chicken leg, and then when the cameras are rolling, she just looks at the screen as if she doesn't know what I'm doing over there.
All of this made her blowing him off the next day sting a little bit more because he felt like she'd wormed her way into his collab with Zach, gotten what she wanted, and now didn't want anything to do with him anymore. Nick also assured his viewers that he never secretly recorded audio of Stephanie. In his Instagram expose, he was referring to audio clips between himself and another creator named Carly Steele. He had talked to Carly about Stephanie worming her way into his collab with Zach and then ghosting him, so he was just gonna expose their shit talking together. together. But Stephanie's response to him mentioning the audio clips got him thinking, if you're so innocent and you didn't say anything wrong, why would you be worried about a secret audio clip? Overall, Nick was deeply offended by Stephanie's video and her accusations. She had taunted him in the private tags of her video because she knew that he had a software that would let him see them. She distorted his appearance throughout her video and poked fun at his stuttering. And perhaps most egregiously, she'd posted the video when she knew that he was boarding his flight back home, so he would get off the plane and it would be giving James Charles finding out about Bai's sister. If you know, you know. And sadly, I still do not have access to 30-minute videos, so I have to make a part 2.